Well, hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Today we are going to be resetting the household. It is Sunday and I have so much I need to do. Our refrigerator is empty, laundry is piling up, so let's get right into it. If you're new here, my name is Nicholsen. I love to share all things homemaking. I'd love it if you would subscribe, and if you're returning, it is so great to see you. I have so much to share in this video, so let's get right into it. So typically on a Sunday, I like to wake up, I like to get my hair washed, let it kind of air dry, give myself a little bit of a blowout. That kind of just starts Monday right on the right foot. I also have a ton of laundry in the laundry room that I just need to get going. And then I love to clean out my refrigerator, get a good sense of what I have. Today, we're going to be making a ton of recipes to food prep for the week ahead. My husband and I are kind of divide and conquering today. He's going to get all the dishes going so that by the time I start cooking, I am not having to unload dishes, and I am so excited to be sharing these with you. So you guys know that I use something called factor meals usually for my lunch, but I like to have grab and go meals for the evening. And for me, I've been wanting to try some new recipes. So today we're going to jump into those. I will have them all linked down below if you want to check them out. But we're going to be making some delicious Buddha bowls. I'm going to be making some amazing Thai coconut curry soup. I have some things I need to prep for the kids, and let's get right into it. Okay, so today what we're going to be making is some baked salmon with lemon and dill. For the week I'm going to prep Buddha bowls. I am going to prep a Thai red curry recipe. And then I have some barbecue chicken we're going to cook. I have a tri-tip we're going to cook, slice up, and then I'm going to cook some steelhead trout for the week as well. I'm going to do a blackened recipe for this. It's going to be very good. And then we're going to be doing a baked ziti, just something simple to have in the freezer just to replenish. All I have left right now is vegetables and chicken in there, so we've got enough for the week here. Then I'm going to do some snacks for the week. Do a little hummus dip for these. Let's get going. So the first dish we're going to be making is some baked dill and lemon salmon. I used to make this on my channel so much when we lived in the Victorian. This is one of the easiest recipes, but lately when I've been going to the refrigerator, I feel like all I ever make is chicken, steak, and that's pretty much it. And ground beef. So beef and chicken. So I wanted to have some fish alternatives for proteins, and I love the way this recipe holds over the next course of a couple days. You can even sear this on the barbecue when you go to eat it. It's just so yummy. So what we're going to do is make some little beds with some foil. You can also use parchment paper. I just feel like foil always holds the boat better. I'm just adding some salt to this, a little bit of pepper, some lemon, and some dill. We're going to make little boats out of this so that I can pour a little bit of white wine in here, and then we're going to bake it for about 20 minutes. Again, this is one of the easiest recipes. I'm going to be making 3 fillets. That way I have them ready to go during the week. I can put them in a salad over a bed of rice, lentils, anything. It is just so good. And then we're going to be making a really yummy dill cream sauce later in this video. On giant meal prep days like this, I always like to keep things rotating in the oven. So the first thing I like to do is get everything that's going to go in there prepped on baking sheets and ready to go. So as one comes out, another one goes in. The next recipe I'm going to be working on is my Buddha bowl. This is just a great grab and go with good proteins. We're just going, instead of using like fish or meat or anything in the dish, I'm going to be using some sweet potatoes. We're going to cube these up, and then I'm just going to get them dressed with some olive oil. And I used a little birria taco seasoning in this, as well as some smoked paprika. I think I put smoked paprika in everything. I love the smoky, delicious flavor, and it kind of just goes with everything that I like to eat. So adding that little salt and pepper, we're going to let that marinate in here. We're going to get that onto a baking sheet and ready to go for when the salmon comes out. For me, this is just an easier way to prep a lot of things. Overall, this took me 2 hours to make. I want to say we did 7 recipes today, but we'll see at the end how many we ended up doing. But this is how I like to do things back to back. It keeps things really, really easy. I do the same thing on the stove. So anything that needs to be prepped on the stove, I tend to have all of those items going at the same time. So I kind of move throughout the kitchen in succession that way. So now I'm going to prep up some of our clean vegetables. This is going to go into a couple recipes, but I also do like to keep things like these green onions and other items that are going to go on multiple dishes in little containers. I will link all my containers down below. These are things I use every single week for prepping. I like to keep all of my like chopped basil and dill and cilantro ready to go. So like when we make this Thai coconut curry soup, which was so good, I ended up having it for lunch this day because it was so yummy. But when you do that, you can actually put these items on multiple dishes and it's ready to go. You don't have to chop anything throughout the week. So I want to get those things prepped and ready to go. Again, some I'll be using in this recipe, some I'll be using for when I'm making these dishes in the week. Before we get started over at the stove, I wanted to prep things I needed for my Thai red curry recipe. I'm modifying the one that I am sharing on here just a little bit, but it does call for some ginger and it calls for some diced up red chilies, but I couldn't find any, so I'm using these serranos, but oh my gosh, it was so good. The one thing I will tell you, I would maybe not put the peppers in the recipe until you're about to eat it. It's so I had it for lunch, and then my husband came home, we had dinner, and he was like, I'm still starving. And I was like, oh, I made this amazing soup today. Let me make you some. I was really proud of it. I was so excited. But the chilies like quadruple heated while sitting in the soup. It was so spicy. Thank goodness we both really, really enjoy spice, but you might want to hold off on that if you don't like spice. I would heavily recommend, or just use it as a garnish and chop it up and make sure you take all the seeds out. But I mean, it wasn't a lost test. Like, we love it. But anyway, I just wanted to make that as a warning. And then it also called for some yellow onions, but really thinly sliced. So I'm going to do that. And then we're going to head over and get all of this cooking on the stove. The smell of the house when we start cooking with onions is like, oh, it just smells like home. I absolutely love it. So to make this dish, it's actually incredibly easy. It's a one pot deal. You don't have to do too much prep. I'm going to throw the onions in some oil and then just let that kind of cook down a little bit. Then we're going to throw in, I wanted to add in some bell peppers that I had already had chopped up in the freezer. This is another kind of meal prep day hack I like to use. I typically will go into my freezer where I have a month's worth of vegetables and things prepped, chopped, and ready to go, and see what I kind of have a lot of. And I did have 2 bags of these bell peppers left over, so I thought I would find recipes that had bell peppers in them so I could work on depleting some of the things I had in the freezer. So we're going to throw those in here. We're also going to throw in that ginger, and the smell of this was incredible. I absolutely love this. And then I'm going to be adding in the red curry paste, and I'm almost out of it because it happens to be one of my favorite things to cook with. So we're going to have all of that kind of stew it down. We're going to add in some coconut milk and our basil, and then you're going to add a little bit of fresh lime to this. It is so good, so easy to make, and anybody you know that likes this style of soup is going to love it. To finish this soup, I'm going to add in some green beans I had in the freezer. Again, something I knew I needed to cook at some point because I have 2 bags of that left over. So I went with recipes that had things that I needed to cook. And in the back, I do have lentils cooking for a couple recipes, as that's what I'm choosing my protein to be this week. Again, I could easily add salmon into this dish, chicken, anything, and it would be just as delicious. So I'm going to add the lentils into this. We're going to mix this up. I'm going to actually make myself a bowl because I just got so excited by smelling it. I was like, this is going to be my lunch. It is so good. I intended on having 4 of these ready to go, but we're 1 less because I ate it. Now that our lunch break is over, it is time to pull out the salmon and put in our sweet potatoes. At this point, we have 2 dishes completely done. We have our salmon dill recipe done. We also have our Thai coconut curry soup done. I'm going to start to get those put away, and then we're going to move on to our next dish, which is going to be our baked chicken. We also have to put the tri-tip on the stove, and we're going to start working on our Buddha bowls, which are really just high protein salads. Since we already have the sweet potatoes in the oven, I needed to get the next item that we're going to be rotating in the oven ready to go, which is our marinated barbecue chicken. This is such an easy way to have things in the freezer. Again, I pulled these out, thawed them out, and they're ready to go. So I'm going to get those ready to go in the oven, and we're going to start our tri-tip, which the kids all ended up eating before I could even prep for the week ahead. So that's what everybody had for lunch. It disappeared before I could even video it. Like, honestly, it disappeared quickly. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is prep up some ingredients for the week. This is going to be some dill. I'm going to be using this as a garnish to our salmon, and I'm going to be using it as a part of the base for the this is a dill, it's like a dill sour cream sauce that goes on top. It's really easy to make, but it is so good with fish. So I want to get that prepped and ready to go. I also have an abundance of cilantro I wanted to chop up and have ready to go for the week ahead as well. One of the other recipes I'm going to be making today is a bunch of burritos for the kids. This has been working really well for our family to have them ready to go. All they have to do is unwrap them and put them into the microwave for about a minute. It can be garnished with things like cilantro or any of that. I also added chicken to some. This week we're going to be doing taco meat for it. So I just think these are great things to grab and go, cut down on time as a busy mom. If you're new here, I have 4 kids ranging from elementary all the way to middle school, and I constantly like to keep things healthy, ready to go for not only my husband and myself, but also our kids. So meal prepping weekly cuts down on the day-to-day having to get ingredients out. It also cuts down on waste, especially when you're making a lot of different recipes that are all very different, as this one is. With the same ingredients. So it really does help with that. So for my Buddha bowl, I'm just using some shredded cabbage. I'm using some radishes and some kale. I'm going to add some salt in here to kind of wilt that down a bit. We're going to be adding some lentils to the bottom of these bowls, and then I'm going to be adding the salad on top of this. I love making Buddha bowls during the week, but one of the reasons that I don't is it's so much prep. Like, to make the sweet potatoes, cut them up, shred them, that's at least 30 minutes. 10 minutes of prep, 20 minutes in the oven, then getting the salad together. I'm obviously not going to eat all of that salad, so to be able to portion it out for the week, I'm going to be more inclined to grab something healthy if I already have it ready to go. And again, more importantly, it cuts down on waste, especially as the prices of things are kind of going through the roof right now. I find that prepping recipes this way Again, saves time, saves money. It also encourages me and the other people in my household that I love to grab something healthy and delicious quickly. So we're going to get these bowls ready to go. And I'm going to top them with those really yummy, crunchy sweet potatoes. When it comes time to enjoy these, I like to add either a little tzatziki to the top of these or a little tahini, something kind of spicy. I also picked up some like just regular old peanut, like a peanut vinaigrette that was really good as well. But you can get creative on the different dressings. So again, you have 3 of the identical things to grab, but you can change all of them just by the basis of the dressings that you add inside. I loved the Thai peanut one. I thought it was really good. I even added some cashews to it and it was just super yummy. I had some of my good chop ground beef thawing and I thought it would be great to make some burritos, but I also needed this for another recipe because we're making baked ziti as well. So again, bulk cooking to be able to split this ground beef in half for 2 separate dishes was a really nice, easy way to cut down on time. Otherwise, if I was making these dishes 2 separate days, I would have to cook the same amount of food twice. So this really does cut down on time. I am going to be taking half of it out, throwing it into the baked ziti, and then I am going to be taking the other half, adding some taco seasoning to it and throwing it into our burritos. While that's cooking, I'm going to make our dill cream. This is very easy to make. It's mayonnaise, sour cream, some lemon and dill, a little bit of salt and pepper, mix it up. And then when you take your salmon out, you can either reheat that in the oven, you can throw it on the barbecue, and then just drizzle some of that delicious cream on top. It is so bright and fresh. It's more of a summer recipe, but I still love it. To make the baked ziti, I'm just adding in some marinara sauce and some whipped cream cheese. We're just going to get that mixed in. I'm going to be adding in some more of those bell peppers. Typically not more, it's not necessarily a baked ziti ingredient, but I had it and I actually do love having bell pepper in my pasta. So we're going to add in that, some mozzarella cheese. I don't need to bake the pasta. It will bake when I put it in the oven when it's time to cook this. And then I'm just going to add in some ground beef to this, get it all mixed up. And then I always love to top it with a ton of Parmesan cheese. It gives it that nice baked crust on top. And this is a really easy, probably took me 10 minutes to make this dish and it's ready to go for the week ahead. The last thing I need to cook on the stove is the beans for our burritos. I'm going to be making bean and cheese. I'm also going to be making some with meat. So while that's cooking, we're going to remove the chicken from the oven. This turned out perfect, so juicy, smells smoky and delicious. We will save this all week and you can shred this, add it to some of the burritos we're making, add it into any of the protein bowls. This would also be very, very good in the coconut curry soup. I didn't want to add proteins to any of those just in case I wasn't in the mood for a meat that day. But we have salmon, we had steak, and we have grilled or barbecue chicken ready to go in this week's meal plan, which can be very versatile for lots of things. So the last thing I need to do is to prep all of my burritos. I always like to lay them all out. This makes kind of like putting the burritos together really, really fast. I'm going to roll all of them into some foil, and then I'm also going to mark them M for meat, and then the other ones, if it doesn't say anything, those are just bean and cheese. I have one child that doesn't like meat, so I do get lots of questions for like baked ziti. What is she going to eat? She would just have butter pasta or whatever she felt like. But the other 5 of us will pretty much eat anything. So that kind of makes it a little bit easy. And she always gets a nice little custom meal each night if there's meat involved. Now that we're done with majority of the cooking, I still need to make my little hummus snacks. I'll show you how everything turned out. Here's everything we're gonna have for the week ahead. And the kitchen is an absolute mess. So now it's time to get cleaning. I'm going to get all of these dishes done. A lot of these are hand washing dishes. So the first thing I like to do is actually get everything that can go in the dishwasher and running. And then I will start cleaning everything else by hand. Just give everything a nice wipe down. I always love to add these little protectors. It just absorbs all the water, and then I can throw those right into the washer machine. The last thing I wanted to do was make some grab and go little hummus snacks. I was purchasing these and I just decided I wanted to make them on my own. It was a lot easier. And I have these little storage containers we've had forever. The kids like to put little things in these. But I grabbed some cucumbers and we're just going to chop those up and add all of the hummus into them. These are great. I think we only have one left and I just made these yesterday. So that's great. As long as we have healthy things for the kids to grab, that's always kind of a win for me. But these were really easy. I'll put these containers down below. I found them on Amazon. They had all kinds of different ones, so finding the ones that work for you. They also have some for like crackers and whatnot that I do for the kids with like a little beef jerky. I love those chomps, are always really good. You can dice those up with a little bit of some like pretzels and then some nuts. It's just a nice little protein pack for the kids. But this week we went with hummus. Maybe I'll do a big snack reset someday and show you all the different ones. We usually make them in the morning for their lunches so they can pick and choose what goes inside. They can add fruit snacks, whatever. It's just a nice way to have their snacks all in a little compartment that's reusable. Okay, the last part, and probably my least favorite of the day, in the big cooking day. Again, it's been 2 hours of cooking, which isn't bad to have all of these meals done in 2 hours, but it did make quite a mess. So we're going to clean up, and then I am going to be doing this week's floral arrangement, which I am so excited about. I got the feeling of spring in making this beautiful arrangement, so I'm excited to share it all with you coming up, and I'll share a couple kind of major life decisions that I recently made that are going to affect this channel, so definitely stick around. For this week's floral arrangement, I want to stay with those, I love these brassicas or these, what are they called? Kale, whatever, these little floral things I get at Trader Joe's. I just love them. I'm not done like using them in my arrangements, but this blue and white thing is actually a popcorn holder. It says popcorn on the other side of it, but I just love it. And it's giving the feels of this year, of this kind of French vibe I've been going for. So I decided to use it. And these lilies happen to be my mom's favorite flowers. And they were just looking so beautiful at Trader Joe's. I decided to grab those. And then I also got some baby's breath just to tuck in. I just find it to be a really great, beautiful filler. This year I had decided every single Sunday I'm going to make myself a beautiful floral arrangement for myself and my family to enjoy, and I've been really enjoying. I mean, I would say go to Trader Joe's. It's the least expensive way to do this. Otherwise, this arrangement probably would have cost me about $150 anywhere else. Trader Joe's has probably cost me about $25 to make this entire thing, and it's just so beautiful. I also had a bunch of leftover florals from Valentine's Day, which I undecorated the house and got it reset, and I'll share that video with you guys next. But it was really fun to reuse those as well in a really creative way. But we're going to tuck some eucalyptus in here, and I'll show you how it all turns out because it's just so beautiful. So this year, 2025, I had set out originally to really lean back out of work and focus on the household more, the kids. I have been, if you've been on my channel, like I have been working since I was 15 years old and kind of got into a position where I could lean out of the 9 to 5 and really focus on other things and maybe just take a bit of a, what did somebody called it, my gap year. And I committed to that, and then was presented with a really incredible opportunity to do some consulting. And I went yet again, like I always do, all into that, and lost track of the goals I had set myself up for this year, which was really immediately took me away from the kids, took me away from my husband, took me away from my time, took me away from the household, and it just wasn't congruent for the goals I have set for this year. So I've decided to lean back out of that, continue to work on the project that I had kind of taken on, but in a more abbreviated way so that I can be here at the house. I have big goals to redo the garden in the backyard. I've been thinking about removing the bocce cord and putting in a giant garden back there, and or just grass for the kids to play on. And I had this to-do list that's just growing cobwebs on it because I did not stick to the goals this year, which if you are like me and you get kind of squirrely when you see something and you're like, oh, that looks exciting, let's go do that. Anyway, so I am going to be back on here as I had intended this year to share all these things. There's parts of our house I've never even shown you guys. There is a big giant bonus room. It's actually where I'm sitting right now. It's where I do all my voiceovers, that just has a couch in it, a bunch of toys thrown everywhere, and I want to redo that space to be a really meaningful space. There's also some construction things I want to do around the house that aren't huge projects, but still I really wanted to do this year that I would not otherwise have been able to if I continued down the path I was on, and that's really going into full-time work again, which again, I've kind of saved and gotten to a place where I could take this gap year and focus on the household. And not to mention, your support of my channel does help me be able to afford all those projects and be able to spend a little bit more time here focused on the kids and my household, which I really could use a little bit of a mental, physical reset from working. There was a period of time where I actually was working 2 full-time jobs, which was really intense. But here's everything we made for the week ahead. We have our baked ziti, all of our burritos, our hummus snacks. Here's our chicken. We have some slaw that I put some dressing on for the chicken. Here is our dill sauce with our salmon, and then I have my Thai coconuts curry and our Buddha bowls. So that is 7 delicious things we can eat all week. I'm going to pack it here in the refrigerator. I cannot wait to redo this kitchen. I know I said we weren't going to do that, and we probably won't this year, but I want to bring back my 2 black refrigerators. Well, I'd have 2 new ones, and I'd probably make them white for this kitchen from our Victorian. How beautiful would that be? I just think it'd be so great. But it's hard to keep this refrigerator stocked. It's very small and it's 21 years old. So it's a little bit harder and tighter to keep things in here. But we do have a refrigerator in the garage, which again, I never take you guys into the garage, which is an embarrassing mess out there. But I'd love to show you what we have going on out there, because that's another area of the house I really would like to get organized, because it's just a absolute mess. So we're going to get everything tucked into the refrigerator, ready to go. And then we're going to head in, clean everything up, and I'll show you how it all turns out. Now that the kitchen is clean, It's time to go spend some time with the family and just enjoy the rest of this Sunday. This took me 2.5 hours all in, and I have 7 delicious recipes to enjoy all week. It doesn't mean that I am not going to still make some dinners, but for the most part, we have some healthy things. Our floral arrangement is so beautiful. It just brings me so much joy. I love it. It's now become something where the kids come in and like, oh, I love this week's floral arrangement. It's become something we all kind of look forward to. Thank you so much for being here, supporting my channel, and spending this Sunday with me. I have so much. I spent the whole weekend getting so excited about sharing the rest of 2025 with you. So please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out, because I have some amazing new projects I'm going to be sharing with you. Okay guys, I hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next video real soon. Bye.